Picked up 10 Twitter followers. You give away magic cards and all of a sudden everybody likes you. Alright guys, underway here in our top 8 feature match. On the left we got Reid. He's playing Jun Monsters. We've seen him already tonight. I think we've seen almost all of our top 8 competitors tonight. His opponent is Alec Myers, who's playing everybody's favorite Naya Super Friends deck. No, I have their names backwards. The other thing. It's the same players, just sitting in different seat. Alec already off to a tremendous start. And Nick struggling mightily with the turn 1 Mutavault, turn 2 Stomping Ground. No action as of yet. So Alec with the turn 3 Stormbreath Dragon goes ahead and piles in here. Nick is going to struggle to come back from this detriment. Alec with the turn 4 second Stormbreath Dragon, so Nick will draw a card, then he will concede this match, and this may be the quickest game ever in the history of our stream, as Nick needs to have just play all of those for 3 mana and move to the sideboards, as again these guys do come every week in the same car. They're very good friends, so some lighthearted banter. And it's the quickest game in the history of the stream, I believe, just finished up, as Alec showing the explosive. So Nick losing to what will eventually be the greatest draw in the history of Alec's Super Friends deck, maybe the quickest game in the history of our stream. He tries to break back to even. He's off to a good start with a turn 1 Elvish Mystic into a turn 2 Scavenging Ooze. And Naya plays a Sylvan Caryatid, so ramping up to the high end that we saw in Game 1. Features a variety of goodies. There's a Domri, drawing a card that I couldn't see because he drew it too quickly. There's a Pelucranos. So these guys just swinging haymakers back and forth. So there is a Mizzium Mortars. So what I think Nick is considering doing here is fighting his. You could. All right, let's see. You could fight the Elvish Mystic with the Domri, and then finish it off with the Mizzium Mortars. But instead, he's going to play Courser of Crucifix. He finds a Forest on top, which he plays. Domri's going to tick up. Of course, we know it's going to miss because there's a Domri on top, courtesy of the Courser trigger. So Alec monstrouses his Pelucranos, kills the Elvish Mystic, which basically serves to give Nick no real profitable block here. He's going to throw his Scavenging Ooze in front. So Nick, despite a strong start, falling behind on board here. He's got a Courser, he's got a Domri, but not much else. There's a Stormbreath. Tick up Domri, draw said Stormbreath. There's a Dreadbore. Do we have a 5th land that comes into play untapped? Four mana, we're going to double Mortars here? We are. Double Mortars on the Pelucranos, so we know the Dragon's coming down. The Domri dangerously close to Ultimate. Very difficult for any deck to beat a Domri Ultimate. Of course, this Stormbreath Dragon is going to change those plans drastically. We know the Dreadbore is going to answer the Dragon, and because of the The course revealing another forest off the top. That comes into play. So Nick back up to his starting life total of 20. He has an answer in hand for the dragon. He still has an active Domri. It's going to whiff because of the Vraska, but I don't think Nick cares all that not much. Dreadvor takes the dragon down. Nick reminding Alec there. I think Alec asking which cards he knew about in his hand. So some good sportsmanship there. Yet another dragon from Alec. So as good as Alec is, he's also particularly lucky, it seems like. So there is a Vraska. Using the Vraska to kill the Domri. Courser running pretty good here. Finding another land on top. Revealing a Scavenging Ooze. So Alec got some choices here. There's an Elspeth. So we see the high-end power of this deck. He also has a Brimaz in his hand. Scavenging Ooze is the draw. Another land on top from the Courser. So Nick running fairly good too to keep getting card advantage with the Courser. Of course, not nearly as good as drawing at every Storm Breath. There's another land on top. So Vraska can take up. That will effectively trade with all the soldier tokens. So here's 5 mana for the dragon. We've known about for quite a while. It's going to swing in. It's going to tick Elspeth down to 1 loyalty. There's another Domri. We knew about that one too. It just ticks up. We know it's going to miss because of the stomping ground, but adding loyalty nevertheless. So Alec ticks up Elspeth, makes 3 more tokens. He can serve in, get Vraska down to 1 if he wants to, which will keep it from vindicating something. He can attack Domri, which will keep it from fighting something. He can get 2 damage through to either. Well, there's a chain to the rocks, which makes it all the better here, as he can now kill the Vraska if he wants to. There is Najani, good grief. So 5 Planeswalkers in this Naya build. So he makes 1 token of 3/3, makes the others 2/2s using Ajani's ability. So 3/3 dies because of Vraska's delayed trigger. And Nick up against it here. Really needs to find Mizzy Mortars that he can overload. There is a Scry with Temple of Abandon, which is pretty strong with Domri, but really needs to find the mortars. Even that doesn't necessarily get him out of harm's way here. Draw with the Domri. We miss. There is a Scavenging Ooze. We knew about that one from the top of the deck, courtesy of the Courser. Let's see how big it can be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can go up to a 7/7. Dragon is going to take out Elspeth. Just pass the turn back. So Alec with 4 soldier tokens. 1 2/2 soldier token. He's going to chain to the rocks with a Course of Crufix under it and an active Ajani, Mentor of Heroes. So we're going to impulse with Ajani here. Alec has to read it because no one has ever done that before. Reveal 4 cards. You can choose a creature or enchantment from among them, I believe. An aura, a creature or planeswalker card from your hand. So there's the 3rd Storm Breath of the game. So Domri is down. Nick goes to 17. Alec counting his mana for some reason, trying to figure out what the liability here is for monstrosity. And there is the Brimaz. So eat 4 creatures. It goes back up to 21. The ooze becomes a 6/6. Alec is hellbent, so the Stormseeker effect is not going to be relevant here. Question in the chat about Storm Breath's Monstrous. It is for 3 counters. So Nick shocking himself with Stomping Ground. We do Monstrous the Storm Breath Dragon. We attack in and kill the Ajani. Just leave the Scavenging Ooze back. So Alec hellbent. He's got a lot of soldiers in the Brimaz. He's got a Storm Breath Dragon that he can Monstrous. Plays the 4th dragon of the game. He's drawn all of them. Attacks with his Brimaz, makes a cat token. So this is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 damage here. Putrefy is going to kill a dragon. Brimaz is going to get eaten by Scavenging Ooze, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goes through, dropping Nick down to 9. So Alec's life total at 14. Nick with 13 power on board. Attacks with his dragon. Alec can't do anything about it. He's down to 7. Nick trying to survive the crackback. There is a Sylvan Caryatid. That will be able to block 2 damage. That ooze can gain 2 life at a minimum. So Nick eats the last 2 creatures in Alec's graveyard to make the Scavenging Ooze an 8/8. Put his life total up to 11. Alec with 4 through the air, and if he attacks with the rest of the team, he can get through 1, 2, 3. So he can get through 7, but he is dead on the crackback to that Storm Breath. So Nick chumps a 1/1 token. Nope. Chumps the 2/2 token. Kills a 1/1. Nick draws for turn. During his draw step, Alec is going to Monstrous. At least get in the 1 damage. So he has a 7/7 dragon here. The dragons will trade, but Alec's still going to need to find an answer for this now 8/8 Scavenging Ooze. He's got plenty of soldiers he can chump for a while, but so the best card that Nick can find here is a Dreadbore. He's already drawn his card for turn, so this is just for next turn. So interesting. I'm going to ask him afterwards what that card was. He thought about that for a very long time. So Dragons trade. Caryatid blocks the Scavenging Ooze. Nick just passes back. So Alec looking for some business here. These tokens can chump for a while, but he can't really break through. 4 mana, is this a Xenagos? Or a Pelucranos? It's a Xenagos. Make a Satyr token. Serve in with leave 2 blockers back so you don't die to removal spell. Chump the Satyr, take 2. So Nick down to 8. Well, I'm going to double check the life totals here real quick. Alright, so correcting life totals. So this is the world's largest Scavenging Ooze, and that Pelucranos is going to be pretty big here. So Pelucranos comes down. Monstrous. Alright guys, so it's the decider here in our quarterfinal feature match. 2 pretty interesting games. Game 1 interesting in that Alec's draw was absolutely perfect and he won in about a minute and a half. Game 2, a real slobber knocker that Nick Reid eventually won with a top deck Pelucranos to shove through the final damage with an 11/11 Scavenging Ooze. So Alec on the play here in the decider, but Nick on the board first with a turn 1 Mystic into a turn 2 Caryatid. There's a Domri. It is going to miss, so Nick shields down. There's a Storm Breath. It's going to kill Domri. And this one might be over just from that. Alec's deck not nearly as well suited to answer the dragon. And as soon as I say that, he does find a sideboarded Amizium Mortars. Let's see what Nick has to follow up with. 4 mana for Pelucranos. It is in fact Pelucranos, the one I don't necessarily like, and an Elvish Mystic to boot. And now if we could just natural order into Craterhoof Behemoth, we could win next turn. So there's a Corso Crufix, somewhat anemic given the current board state. There's a Domri. Fight Pelucranos on the Corsair. Serve in for 7. So Alec down to 13 here. using all of his run good in game number 1. Struggling. He's got Brimaz in his hand. He doesn't have a second white. He's got Chandra Pyromaster, which can come down and will immediately die. There's a Caryatid. That's his only play here. His hand is chock full of gas, as in a ghost, as in a god. The Brimaz a Storm Breath. So Domri takes up. It misses. Attack with Pelucranos. No blocks. Take 5. Alec down to 8. 7 mana for Rakdos Return. No, Rakdos Return for 6. And that is Alec's entire hand. He's down to 2 life here. And that's going